Howdy. I'm here outside of Alamo Heights High School in San Antonio, Texas. Alamo Heights is the alma mater of such creative luminaries as Peter Weller from Buckaroo Banzai and RoboCop. There's also Christopher Cross with such yacht rock hits as Sailing and Arthur's Theme. And myself, Chandler O'Quinn, a noted YouTube celebrity. Sure, we'll go with that. So today we are in San Antonio taking a look at some Old West history, one of the deadliest corners in San Antonio. And I'm not just talking about Dr. Newman's chemistry class, which was an absolute assassin to my GPA. Anyway, hope you'll enjoy it. I'm here on the beautiful San Antonio River Walk, just a few steps away from what is now an AC hotel run by Marriott at the corner of Soledad and Commerce. But what at one time was the center of San Antonio politics and entertainment, the Vaudeville Saloon. We'll talk a little bit more, we're going to be talking a bit more about that as we go along. But the Vaudeville Saloon was operated by a man named Jack Harris. And Jack Harris was a one-time friend and then a one-time enemy of Ben Thompson. For faithful followers of the channel, I've talked about Ben Thompson a bit before because Ben Thompson is quickly becoming one of my favorite Old West figures. Bat Masterson is probably still number one, but Ben Thompson is coming up close. And Jack Harris would be shot and killed by Ben Thompson at that corner right there at the Vaudeville Saloon. And then just a few years later, Ben Thompson would be killed right there in that very saloon once again. Well, I guess it's not someone was killed again. Ben Thompson was only killed once. But this all begs the question, who are these people? Again, thinking of our friend from the Houston and Refugio episode, wait a minute, who are you? So Jack Harris would at one time become one of the movers and shakers in San Antonio politics. Was born in Connecticut, I believe 1807. Maybe not, maybe a little later than that. He would go just 13 years old onto ships, become a cabin boy on a ship, and made his way to the Caribbean, made his way eventually to Nicaragua, and was involved in a filibustering expedition there. And then comes to Texas in the 1840s, and comes to San Antonio, and by the 1850s and 60s he was involved in the police force here. During the Civil War, he would fight in the 2nd Texas Mounted Rifles. They play an important role in the story of Fort McCavitt, but they also play an important role in the life of Ben Thompson. So that is where Jack Harris and Ben Thompson would first meet. They were involved in mostly battles around the coast, the retaking of Galveston, and in fact, it is supposed that Ben Thompson and Jack Harris were part of the 5-man crew that took the USS Harriet Lane. Again, another connection to all of our Texas history stories. The Harriet Lane was the Union ship that was taken by Confederate forces off the coast of Galveston in 1862. And those prisoners were held at the Walls unit in Huntsville. And when Sam Houston died in July of 1863, those prisoners of the Harriet Lane were the ones who built the coffin for him. So those prisoners were there because of the work of Ben Thompson and Jack Harris. After the Civil War, Jack Harris would go into the police force once again here in San Antonio, and then would eventually throw in to get a saloon very close to here, but not this one on this corner. But a few years later, in the 1870s, he purchases the corner lot right here at Soledad and Commerce and makes the Vaudeville Theater, one of the premier entertaining establishments in San Antonio. Let's talk a little bit about Ben Thompson. So Ben Thompson was from England, I believe Nottingham, England. He comes to Austin. That's a big part of this story, is the tensions between San Antonio and Austin. So Jack Harris would come here. Ben Thompson would go to Austin with his family. I believe he's about 9 years old when he gets to Austin. He was apprenticed to a printer working on a newspaper in Austin, and then would eventually, through printing connections, make his way to New Orleans as a young man, where he is said to have killed his first man. That was a Frenchman who was assaulting a young lady in New Orleans, and he stepped in the way and killed him with his knife. Not the last man that Ben Thompson would kill, and possibly not the last man that he would kill in the pursuit of protecting the honor of a young lady. At least that's the story that is associated with him, as being the English gentleman gunfighter. Reading his story, I saw glimpses of, if you remember Richard Harris from the Clint Eastwood movie Unforgiven, the Duck of Death, as Gene Hackman called him, though much more well-kempt than the Duck of Death was. I just still see some coincidences and some similarities there between Ben Thompson and that character. So he would come back to Texas. He would fight in the Civil War, take the USS Harriet Lane, possibly, with Jack Harris. Then he went to, his fighting was not over with. He enjoyed service so much that when the war was over, he went and found and fought another war, this time with Maximilian over in Mexico. He was fighting for Maximilian. So the whole story of Cinco de Mayo, he would be on the bad guy side of Cinco de Mayo, according to those who celebrate it. And according to General Zarzagoa, I believe, who is also from Texas. Again, all these Texas history ties all come in together. Ben Thompson possibly was fighting in those forces with a man named Phil Coe. They definitely fought together in the Civil War in the same regiment with Jack Harris. Phil Coe we talked about a little bit in Brenham. He is buried there in Brenham. Another one of these Old West figures. Following the surrender of Maximilian, Ben Thompson comes back to Texas, and he throws in with Phil Coe. They go up to Kansas. They go to Abilene, Kansas, and are involved with the Bull's Head Tavern, which may or may not have been referring to the actual head of the bull. Many people say that according to the sign outside the tavern, it was referring to a different part of the bull's anatomy. But they would be partners in that together, and were both enemies of Wild Bill Hickok. Once Hickok killed Phil Coe, Ben Thompson stayed in Kansas for a while, but his brother Billy got in trouble in Kansas and had to come back to Texas, specifically the Panhandle, specifically Old Sweetwater. So all the lines coming together, the shootout with Melvin King, according to Bat Masterson, Ben Thompson was there and saved his life as the U.S. Army regulars were going to try and kill Bat Masterson for shooting and successfully killing Melvin King. Bat Masterson says that it was Ben Thompson who stood on top of a faro table with guns drawn and made sure that Bat Masterson was protected that night. Definitely Billy Thompson was there because Billy Thompson had an affection for Molly Brennan. Again, all these things coming together, and all of, at least for Ben Thomas's or Thompson's story, would come back here to San Antonio. So by the late 1870s, Ben Thompson had come back to Austin. He married one of the socialites of Austin, one of the leading families in Austin, and sets up his own saloon on Congress Street. It's having a saloon, I think we found, is a pretty good way to earn a living in any decade, in any era, but especially in the Old West, especially in these towns, these big towns like San Antonio. And while Austin wasn't necessarily big, it was important. So these saloon keepers become the centers of not only entertainment, but politics, because all of the politicians and leaders are having drinks and being entertained at these places. So we've got the Ben Thompson Saloon in Austin. We've got Jack Harris's saloon right here. And they had a falling out. We will, I think, talk a little bit more about that falling out in a moment, because it's important to understand how all this chain of events took place. But we've got Ben Thompson, Jack Harris, former comrades in arms, former friends who are about to become enemies. So it's the early 1880s up at the Vaudeville Saloon on the corner of Soledad and Commerce. The Vaudeville Saloon was the entertaining establishment of San Antonio. When you went there, you could expect a full show. That would include some sort of acting performance, some sort of slapstick comedy, probably a minstrel number, some other banjo number, poetry could be read, can girls might show up, some sort of acrobatics or bicycle act, and then at the end of all that, one of the floor men would say, "Now grab your partners and play it, Professor," and then all the tables would and chairs would screech as the floor was opened up for waltzing and dancing and polkas to commence. That would all happen on the first floor. The first floor also had a lunch counter, and it would have a fully stocked bar, all sorts of whiskey and rum and all sorts of tequila probably by that point. Then on the upper story, it was sort of open balcony. So there was balcony seating that was looking into the things that were happening in the theater. And there were all sorts of tables where the cowboys and rancheros and different people visiting San Antonio and all the regular politicians could come and get a game of poker in. And it is at one of these tables up on the second floor that the inciting incident, which would lead to a chain of events leading to two influential men dying, would occur. Ben Thompson was somebody who No one ever said that he was ungentlemanly. He was never found with soiled doves. He was never involved in very many sordid affairs. But when he got some drinks into him, he could become pretty erratic and pretty angry. And Bat Masterson said that once that happened, he was the fastest draw he ever saw. Bat Masterson saw a lot of fast draws. So what ends up happening is there is a man, Joe Foster, who is working for the house, and he is dealing at the table, and Ben Thompson is losing a lot of money. And as he continues to have to pull out cash and hand it over, he gets more angry, and he pulls out more, and he pulls out more, and finally he's all out of cash, so he has to get into his pocket and get his diamond-studded, fobbed pocket watch, and offer that on the table as well. And the whole time he's cussing out Joe Foster, and he's saying that this is a rigged game, and that this whole place is rigged and it's nothing but a dirty whorehouse. And by the end of it, there's a lot of ill feelings on both sides. For Jack Harris, the owner of the establishment, he didn't particularly like being called a pimp. He didn't like being called that his vaudeville, the jewel of San Antonio, was nothing but a whorehouse. And he didn't like that Ben Thompson was saying that his dealer was crooked. He also didn't like that Ben Thompson said the watch was worth a lot of money when he put it into the pool, and then when he came to collect it, he said it wasn't worth that much money. So he felt slighted by both the words, actions, and the finances of Ben Thompson. For Ben Thompson's part, he also felt slighted. He felt that he had a crooked poker game, and that all of this, he was cheated. So both sides are feeling cheated. And then you have just months of bad secrets and rumors and threats being given on both sides of our state. From San Antonio, the allies of Jack Harris; from Austin, the allies of Ben Thompson, are all saying all these vague threats and rumors. And then I believe it's around the spring of 1882, Ben Thompson is on business back here in San Antonio, but he's not here at the Vaudeville. But somewhere around here, he runs into Jack Harris. He tells Jack Harris, you're running a dirty whorehouse, and I'm going to close it down someday. And Jack Harris says, you're banned from the Vaudeville, and if you step foot in the Vaudeville, I'll shoot you myself. Something to that effect. In the meantime of all this, Ben Thompson was elected town marshal for Austin. So now he has some police authority, but not in San Antonio. He has police authority in Austin. It doesn't happen right away. The tension just continues to build and build. Until there's a outlaw with a price on his head of $1,000, and Ben Thompson needs to come to San Antonio. He wants to collect that bounty, and figures that one of the best places to look for that outlaw would be at the Vaudeville on the corner of Soledad and Commerce, and that is where he would choose to go into in July of 1883. July 1883, Ben Thompson is looking for this outlaw with a very large price on his head, and comes in around noon to the old Vaudeville theater. Joe Foster and Jack Harris are not there. So he tells the barkeep, I'm not finding my man here, but you best tell Joe Foster and Jack Harris I'm coming back to shut this whorehouse down. News goes through all the staff at the Vaudeville, including one of the trusted advisors of Jack Harris, a man named Billy Sims. Billy Sims used to work for Ben Thompson up in Austin, and had come to the Vaudeville before the inciting poker incident that formally declared hostilities between Ben Thompson and Jack Harris. But Billy Sims tried to ease the tensions between the two, but was never successful. Ben Thompson goes out for the rest of the afternoon. He stops by a gun shop on Main Street. He purchases 5 center point shells for his Colt revolver for 10 cents. And loads those into his revolver. He then comes back to the Vaudeville around 6:30, and Billy Sims meets him out in the street and says, "Don't go in there. We don't need to have any bloodshed. This doesn't have to happen this way. You guys can reason this out." And Ben Thompson is hearing none of it. But he does turn around and he goes to another saloon and has a drink, and then he comes back. While that's been happening, Joe Foster and Jack Harris were preparing for Ben Thompson's return. Jack Harris goes in through the back, and he goes to the ticket office and picks up a shotgun, and then he waits at the front door entrance of the saloon. Now, the account that I read said that there were some slatted saloon doors, as you would imagine in a Western movie, swinging slatted doors. I'm not exactly sure if that's accurate or if that was just an embellishment on the part of the author of that account, but I'd like to think that it's true, is that those classic movie Western saloon doors were at the opening of the Vaudeville saloon. So Jack Harris waited at the front door for Ben Thompson to arrive, and Ben Thompson did. At the moment that he arrived, there were 2 or 3 ladies that were coming out of the saloon, and the story goes that Ben Thompson tipped his hat and said, "You'd best get out of the way, ladies. There's going to be trouble here." The ladies did, and then he shouted at Jack Harris behind the saloon doors, "Jack Harris, you son of a bitch! What are you doing with a shotgun?" And then Jack Harris's reply was, "Kiss my ass, you son of a bitch." And at that moment, Ben Thompson pulled a Colt revolver out of his hip pocket and shot at the door. He hit Jack Harris in the left pectoral, not in the heart, but very close to the heart. Jack Harris then immediately climbed up the stairs saying, he hit me, and then was in one of the rooms upstairs until he was carried out in a litter back to his home further down on Soledad Street. I'm here at City Cemetery number 1. This is one of the oldest cemeteries in San Antonio, outside of the ones around maybe the Missions and San Fernando and all of that, where a lot of San Antonio's leading figures were laid to rest. I know just over there is where Samuel Maverick would have been laid to rest, and this is where Jack Harris was laid to rest following his death in 1883. The funeral procession for him included over 40 wagons. He was one of the most influential people in San Antonio. He was essentially the head of the Democratic Party, which was the leading party in San Antonio at the time. As much as we can maybe poke fun at the idea of all of the sportsmen, gamblers, and Democrats being the ones most mourning this man, it does say something about the influence that he had, the life that he led. In reading about him and what the Vaudeville did for San Antonio, I was thinking of Al Swearingen. If any of you have seen Deadwood, I'm not quite sure if it was as vile and vulgar as all of that, but while not having much elected office himself, he was a district attorney, he was in the police force at one time, but most of his power came not from elected office, but as being the host at the place where things happened. As Hamilton would say, in the room where it happened. The Vaudeville was the room where it happened for so many decisions in San Antonio. It was quite a shock to the political class in San Antonio when Jack Harris was shot by Ben Thompson in 1883. According to the plaque here, it says that the Vaudeville it became of such renown because of Jack Harris's death at the hands of Ben Thompson, made national news all the way in New York City. People were talking about that Jack Harris had died at his vaudeville. And the shows that we were talking about all got connected, and that the actual popularization of the term vaudeville may have come from the news of Jack Harris's death in 1883. The vaudeville in San Antonio was known across certainly the Wild West, certainly the whole country. The list of people who said or have been rumored to have been there includes Butch Cassidy, the Sundance Kid, John Wesley Hardin, all sorts of Old West figures stopped in at the vaudeville. It was the center of political and entertainment life in San Antonio. Jack Harris's influence and legacy was felt far beyond his passing in 1883. This plaque honoring him was erected 100 years later. In 1982, there was still a Friends of Jack Harris Society here in San Antonio that raised the funds to have this plaque further explaining the life of Jack Harris put here at his graveside. Right now, there are people who have laid coins on top of Jack Harris's grave here. So I will say that I certainly came to this project wanting to study and walk in the footsteps of Ben Thompson. And excuse me, but I still do hold a lot of respect and admiration for Ben Thompson. But I was introduced to someone that I had never known was so important and influential in post-World Civil War politics in San Antonio. So if you are ever in San Antonio, I'd highly recommend coming to City Cemetery No. 1. I am actually right now looking at Samuel Maverick's grave, the man who made the term Maverick, who was also an influential leader in San Antonio. He is laid to rest right there. You can't walk 3 feet without hitting some historical marker for some figure who is influential in San Antonio history, in Texas history, in American history. So we are, right in the shadows of the Alamo Dome and the Tower of Americas in San Antonio to pay our respects to one of the most influential leaders in the Old West, Jack Harris. I'm here outside the modern City Hall building in San Antonio. This was completed in 1889. But at the time of the Ben Thompson, Jack Harris feud, this was still the courthouse, jail, and city hall for San Antonio and Bexar County. Constructed in the 1850s, it was known as the Bat Cave, and that's not because of the amazing technology that allowed the Caped Crusader to squash out crime. Instead, it was because there is an actual colony of Mexican free-tailed bats that made their home in the rafters of the structure. So after Ben Thompson shot Jack Harris went upstairs cussing out Ben Thompson, saying, "He got me. He shot me in the dark. He got me." He stayed up there for a little bit and then was taken down in a litter to his home on Soledad Street. And Joe Foster, the dealer that was some way, at least at the present when the inciting incident happened in 1880, was right at Jack Harris's side. He said, "Are you in pain?" And Jack Harris said, "Yeah, he got me." And then a few hours later, he died. All of the leading voices in San Antonio society attended the funeral of Jack Harris. All of the different people that he was involved with, the gamblers, the sportsmen, the Democrats, all wrote florid pieces about what it meant that the community leader, Jack Harris, was now gone, and gone at the hands of Ben Thompson. Ben Thompson, immediately following the shooting, weaves his way to the Minger, where he was staying, and then the next morning he comes and turns himself in here at this spot, not at this building, but on this spot. He would spend the next 6 months of his life in jail here at the Bat Cave. At first, they were going to have the trial right away, but the tensions were so hot that Jack Harris is gone. Ben Thompson's lawyer asked for a continuance. That was granted. There was even some talk of maybe doing a change of venue. Jack Harris was such an influential part of the San Antonio community that people thought that you couldn't get an unbiased jury. But that was not the case, because while all the gamblers, sportsmen, and Democrats in San Antonio liked Jack Harris, there were a lot of German families and just regular people who did not like the element that Jack Harris brought into the community, and those voices started to make themselves heard to the point where they figured that they could get a fair trial here in San Antonio, and Ben Thompson was acquitted in January of 1884. He returns to Austin. It is a huge fanfare, parade, band as he gets off the train in Austin to take back his badge as the city marshal in Austin. Though something had changed. This had a profound impact on Ben Thompson's life. Maybe he was regretful of the actions that he had done. I don't know, but he just circles the drain, becoming more irritable, more turning to drink. He would go out in the middle of the night in Austin, patrolling the streets, and just take his gun out and just start shooting it randomly up in the air. He was just becoming more erratic. And at the same time, the tensions between Austin and San Antonio and the allies of Jack Harris, the allies of Ben Thompson, the tension keeps growing. More threats and rumors are made, and that is the climate that we enter in 1886, I believe, when on March 11th, 1886, when John King Fisher goes up to Austin to have a friendly visit with his old friend Ben Thompson. And we'll get to what happens next in just a moment. So, a few years later, Ben Thompson is back as the city marshal up in Austin, and one of his old friends, a man named John Kingfisher, comes to visit him. John Kingfisher was another one of these outlaws turned lawman. He was the sheriff for Uvalde. So they get together in Austin, they have drinks and reminisce about old times, and then it's time for Fisher to start to head his way back home, get on the train from Austin going down to San Antonio. At that time, Ben Thompson decides to follow him, and they continue the night, having drinks in Austin, having drinks in the train station, and eventually make their way to San Antonio. Whether that was Ben Thompson's intention or not, that's where they ended up. So they continue to have drinks, and as we've established before, as Ben Thompson continues to have drinks, his irritability goes up, and the eventuality of violence also goes up. So they have more drinks, they go and catch a show. One of the performers that had just performed in Austin took the train down and was performing here in San Antonio the next night. They go and see part of that show, but decide to step out and have more drinks. And then they take a hack here to the Vaudeville. It's at 11 p.m. Billy Sims comes and greets them. This is Ben Thompson's old friend. So they have drinks downstairs, and then they go upstairs to the balcony overlooking the show. The show that night was Lillian Russell's Soubrettes, and they were doing a intricate Oriental number. So just imagine sitting there in this Old West balcony, cigar smoke just permeating the air, and playing Pharaoh and Monty, and down on the stage just these ladies in red and gold satin doing a number that is equally parts dazzling and politically incorrect. They said that it was a chopstick melody that was being played in the song. So I can just hear that jingling of the saloon piano playing some sort of Oriental-inspired number as the men go upstairs to talk about old times. And at first it goes perfectly well. So upstairs, among the tables, there's one table that has John Kingfisher, Ben Thompson, Billy Sims, and one of the friends of the Vaudeville, Jacob Santos Coy. So they're all at one table. And then one of the front tables that's farther away from them is Joe Foster. So they are all reminiscing about old times. And then the subject of Jack Harris comes up. And at the subject of Jack Harris, everything got kind of quiet. Billy Sims was made the executor of Jack Harris's will, was someone who was very close to Jack Harris. And Joe Foster was someone who was even closer. And at the subject of this, Ben Thompson decides to call Joe Foster over. And Joe Foster begrudgingly obliges. He weaves his way through the tables and gets to Ben Thompson. Ben Thompson offers his hand in a handshake. Joe Foster refuses to shake his hand. Ben Thompson slaps him across the face and goes into his hip pocket to draw. As he does that, Coy grabs the barrel of the gun. Ben Thompson fires indiscriminately up in the air. As he gets those shots off, more men fire into John Kingfisher, who had nothing to do with this, didn't even clear his weapon out, didn't get a shot off. John Kingfisher was shot 13 times. Ben Thompson was shot 8 times, 5 of them in the head. Joe Foster is hit in the hip, and Jacob Coy is shot in the leg. Coy would limp for the rest of his life. Ben Thompson and John Kingfisher were dead on the ground. There were indictments that were made. There weren't indictments made against any of the men involved in the shooting because they said it was simple self-defense. Ben Thompson cleared his weapon first. Joe Foster survived that night but would die a few days later from his wounds. Coy would limp for the rest of his life and was actually supported financially by Billy Sims into the 20th century. And that was the end of Ben Thompson. Ben Thompson, this Englishman in Texas. If any of you are followers of Ollie Pettigrew, Ben Thompson is one of the first Englishmen in Texas, and a real Old West gunfighter who lived a remarkable life, seeing the Civil War, seeing the War of Maximilian and the French conquest of Mexico, seeing Wild Bill Hickok up in Kansas, a gunfighter who was the ultimate gentleman, dressed to the nines in silks and top hats, and but was also the deadliest man that Bat Masterson had ever seen. And all of that career came to an end right there. And although they didn't know it at the time, that whole era pretty much came to an end. If not that day, very shortly thereafter in the coming months and years, as San Antonio was no longer going to be this Wild West town, but was going to become more of a place for families. Already by that point, there were so many German families making homesteads here that German was the most spoken language in San Antonio. And they were not going to have any of this Wild West nonsense. They wanted a safe place to raise their children and make families and make pearl beer. So that whole era of the cowboy was closing all around the nation, but especially here in San Antonio. And one of the death nails of that era was the shooting of Ben Thompson and the shooting of Jack Harris a few years before, right there. I think it is interesting that the epitaph of Jack Harris's grave is Jack Harris, 1832 to 1882, a single man. That's it. I wonder if that is because they're trying to honor him as saying like he was a singular man, there was no one like him, or if it was just that he never got hitched. And because he died not married to anyone, he was in fact a single man. I sometimes worry that my epitaph will also say a single man, but it will be equally as confusing as to whether that's just because I'm singular and there's no one like me, or because I spend so much time in old cemeteries, there's not going to be a Mrs. Chandler anytime soon. But you know, I do enjoy my time in the cemeteries. It's important to spend time with your peers, and all of my peers died over 150 years ago. So, but I just like to come and say hi and visit with them. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this episode of Chandler's Travels. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends about this wacky Old West guy going to cemeteries, talking about gunfights and all sorts of fun stuff. All of that helps us in getting the word out about the channel so I can take even more of you along with me on my journeys. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, vaya con Dios. I am here in the heart of downtown San Antonio. Don't know how the sound is going to come out because there's lots of lovely San Antonio noise from the city traffic and everything and the construction, but we're going to go into this anyway. I'm outside the Aztec Theater, and this, I don't know if it's going to fit into what video it will, but since I'm walking down here, I thought I might as well share this little piece of family history. But it is here inside this building that my grandfather, Bill Warmond, was working as an usher. He was maybe 15, 16 years old on December 7th, 1941. It was inside the Aztec Theater. He always made sure that it was a 3-syllable word that really punched that A. Somehow my accent, I've made it into a 2-syllable word. But he was working at the Aztec Theater as an usher, and on Sunday, December 7th, I think they were showing a Bob Hope picture. And they interrupted the picture, and it was his job to go through all the aisles and let everyone know that the United States had been attacked and that all servicemen needed to report to their posts immediately. That was something that he carried with him through the rest of his life. I mean, as it would be for the whole country, we all know someone, at least most of us have grown up with somebody who was alive December 7th, 1941, and can recount exactly where they were when they heard that Pearl Harbor had been bombed. My story, the one that I know, is right here at the Aztec Theater, as Paul would say.